here by divine appointment. And it is an honor and a privilege to have you here joining us this morning at Circle's Edge. My topic this morning is called Harmony and Healing. And there's something, this was a very disturbing idea that I heard not too long ago. And it was from a Canadian neurosurgeon who did a study on people who were changing their fundamental beliefs and opinions. And what the study revealed is that when this happens, when we make a decision to change a fundamental idea or opinion, the brain undergoes a series of nervous sensations equivalent to distressing torture. Now, isn't that a fascinating thing? And as I said, very disturbing as I read about that. And what I know, though, is that we don't have to affirm this concept. We can choose to say that this is not the case with regard to our own beliefs and opinions as we choose to change them. And let us instead find ways to harmonize the ideas and beliefs and opinions that we choose to change, that keep us stuck. And what I know is that most of us are in this teaching because we have ways, we have tools that we can use that allow us to change our opinions and our beliefs and our ideas that keep us stuck in a way that is harmonious, that allows us to make these shifts without, as the study says, distressing torture. Although, as I think about that, I think, oh my goodness, I do know people who have experienced this feeling of distressing torture when they're changing a belief or an idea. But I think it's important to hear it, because when we hear that, what we realize is how deeply embedded these beliefs and ideas and opinions can be, and how stuck they are within our own mentality, how difficult it is to make this shift, because for whatever reason, if we have an underlying belief that came about perhaps when we were young and impressionable, and it was said to us by someone that we loved and adored, to change that belief, it is like distressing torture. It's like saying, that means that I have to throw this person out of my life, or it means that I have to go against what these people that I loved had been telling me all my life, when indeed, it isn't about them. It's about us. It's about the way we choose to make a decision or to change a belief or an opinion. I want to repeat this for Jeannie and Michael because I want you to hear the beginning of the story. There was a result of a Canadian study by a neurosurgeon who said that when we change beliefs or opinions, the study revealed that it was the equivalent to the brain's going through distressing torture, that when we change belief or opinion. So I just want to give that to any of the people who just came in, because it's really important to know that as I go on with the talk. In any case, what we know is that through this teaching, we can circumvent that process, because what we can do is recognize and realize that we are the ones that are changing who we are, and that we don't have to be concerned about how other people are reacting to our choices, even though they will. Those of us who spend Thanksgiving with our families certainly know that other people are going to react to the way we change. Perhaps you showed up this Thanksgiving as a newer person, or with a changed idea or a changed belief, and people around the table were kind of shaking their heads. I know I've experienced that in Thanksgivings or Christmases or other holidays past. So what we know is that it's about you, us, individually. We are the ones who need to make decisions about how we believe, the concepts that we choose to put down for ourselves and follow as something in our lives. And that's the important thing to always remember. Emerson really brings this to light when he says this: All this passes in their minds, but they will not forsake for a day or an hour the dull, unsatisfactory world to which their customs cling, and which passes before them daily in uniform and joyless reverie. They will wait in expectation of this admonishing judgment, but they will not awaken. So those of you who haven't, are kind of still tracking what I just said, the Emerson quote, a quick translation is this. It's much easier to cling to old customs and beliefs, not realizing that in doing so, we pass by our greatest opportunities for discovery and growth. We pass by the opportunity to awaken. Because when we choose to let those old beliefs keep us stuck, what happens is we don't give ourselves the opportunity for growth. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to awaken to a new way of being, to a new way of living and expressing ourselves in the world. And so this dilemma that we call change, and that's the really difficult thing that all of us face every moment of every day. Will I have to change anything in my life? And when we face change, sometimes it feels like torture. It feels like, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to get through this if I have to change the way I do something? So we need to look at this concept of change as an opportunity. And we need to find that way to move through it with harmony. And when we find that harmony, we move into that next place that we call healing. So the dilemma called change is what challenges our ability to live this harmonious and spiritual experience. So first of all, I want to clarify something, because I have this discussion with practitioners. Because Ernest Holmes talks about the idea of healing as revealing the essence of truth that already lies within us, the essence of spiritual perfection. So when we say heal, we're not really changing anything. What we're doing is we're taking away the appearances of what has clouded up the spiritual perfection that lives within each of us. So healing is really revealing. And many people will say to you as practitioners, there's really nothing to heal. There's only something to reveal. Because when we are experiencing distress or disease or anything that keeps us from expressing who and what we are, it is a result of all kinds of filters and junk and stuff that have come at us and surrounded us over the course of time. The beliefs, the concepts, the ideas that we find so difficult to change that we feel like we're going through torture. Now, if you put all those things together, you can see that difficulty that the body has in healing itself, because it has to shine through all of this junk that has been heaped upon it for years and years and years. Beliefs and customs and ideas and all of that type of thing. So what we're talking about today is how to move through that, to get out of that stuff, to get out from under it, so we can really experience a sense of harmony, to be in harmony with the one. And what we're really healing is the resistance to ideas that will set us free. And we remember what the Master Jesus said? The truth shall set you free. What is that truth? That truth is the wholeness, the spiritual perfection that lives within us. Now, you will say, what about the appearance? I'm feeling a diseased condition. I'm feeling pain. I'm feeling things that are happening to me that certainly don't appear to be perfect. What we have to know is that all of those things are effects. They come about as a result of all of those heaped on ideas and concepts and beliefs that have built themselves up and that have brought us to a place where we believe they're real. So, if we go to the founder of Dr. Ernest Holmes, what he says is this: the original spirit is harmony. The original spirit is harmony. Any form which is not of the original harmony is subject to change. So all of our body parts and all of the things that we experience in the world, that's all subject to change. But the original spirit is not. So change in terms of our perception and our beliefs never ever puts this original harmony in jeopardy. What it does, though, is it provides us an opportunity to align ourselves what is the original harmony of the universe, of wholeness and well-being. The original harmony, then, is when our human nature and our divine nature recognizes itself. When the human part of us recognizes its soul nature, that's when healing takes place. Healing is the revelation of our inherent wholeness. It is our awakening. We cannot change that inherent divinity within us, but we can always change our human perspective, our human realization, our human perception of the situation. Sometimes it's very difficult for the human mind to comprehend the feeling or the appearance that something that appears to be so difficult, so challenging, so final, to be harmonious. I have been at the bedside of too many people who have made their transitions. And as that moment occurs, one such incident was my experience this past week. When that occurs, there is something sacred, something amazing, something beyond the human comprehension that occurs. What happens is, at that moment, the divine nature of that individual, the spiritual essence of that individual, that which was always the original perfection of that person, recognizes itself as the human body. And the human body simply says, I just don't have any more work to do here on this planet, and surrenders itself to this spiritual essence. And when you have that experience and when you know that that's what's happening, there's something that goes on that is so powerful that says this spiritual energy, this power, this idea of absolute wholeness goes on forever. And what we experience here and all the things that we deal with moment to moment, day to day, changeable, all changeable. But there is something within us that is so powerful and so present that will never change. And when we get to feeling that sense of a little bit off, or a challenge, or disease, or discomfort, or whatever it is, we have to remember that inside of us, and it's not really just inside of us, it's all over, it's infused in every cell of our being, that perfection, that spiritual wholeness is more powerful and more present than anything else we could possibly imagine. So Holmes says, conditions cannot remain unless there was someone there to experience them. So when the someone is gone, there's no one to experience those conditions any longer. So the experience then must be in consciousness. It must be in the consciousness, and as the consciousness changes, the condition changes. The concept of health and well-being and healing is all about our willingness to let go of our preoccupation with the disharmony of effect.
Would you go
And
through
we
that one
do.
more time?
I will. The concept of healing is about our willingness to let go of our preoccupation with the disharmony of effects. So if we think about, if we are preoccupied, and we do get preoccupied. We were talking the other day about how people are addicted to drama. In fact, there's a special on it. People are addicted to, what was the other thing they were addicted to? They were addicted to...
Well, adrenaline.
There's an adrenaline rush that goes through us that when things are challenging, when we experience people all around us all the time, they always seem to be attracting drama into their lives. They're always, there's always something exciting going on. They don't do it consciously, but there's something in them that somehow attracts that to them so that they can feel alive, feel connected, somehow give meaning to their lives. When really what we have to do is realize that when we go beyond that, when we go beyond that preoccupation to the effect of that thing, we find this inherent wholeness. We find something that is much more powerful, in fact, infinitely more powerful than the drama of effects. But we get so preoccupied with it. It becomes so prevalent in our lives. So when we choose healing, we're choosing the harmonious path to love. We no longer see the value in pain and suffering, because there's always appearing to be some sort of payoff to pain and suffering. I'll give you away a secret. We watch the Waltons. I love the Waltons. I've seen almost every episode of the Waltons. And, it's just one of those things that just gives me a sense of well-being. It always ends up well. Something wonderful always happens in the end. Some great miracle occurs. And I love to see that. And one of the things that Michael Learned said to one of her children one day is, Erin, you have to learn that that taking to your bed is not the way to get attention. And I thought it was such an interesting revelation, because sometimes that's what we do, is that we, even this is a child who subconsciously, is wanting to be sick because it's the only way out of 7 children that she's going to get attention in her life. But do we do that unconsciously to ourselves in other ways? Do we create these types of dramas to bring attention that we think we need? Well, when we let go of the preoccupation with that effect, and we go into that deeper place of sacred knowing, we bring to light the realization that there is something much more powerful than that. That the attention is not what's needed whatsoever. That really what we're looking for is the sense of being and experiencing and living through the sacred presence. So our purpose for each day, every moment, is a greater awareness of this greater reality, which is love. I want to share with you a few quotes that I found on healing and harmony, because they are so closely related. One is by Inayat Khan, and it says, harmony is brought about by attuning oneself to all beings, to all things, to all conditions, to all situations, and the person who cannot tune himself or herself tries to tune others. And so we've got to look at that as well. If we are finding it difficult to flow and be in harmony with everything, with all of life, then we try to get everybody else to be in tune. But what we know is that that's all about the big C word, control. And we step out of that harmonious flow when we do that. Another quote from Eric Oberg is this: "Very often a lack of harmony is caused by one's own resistance to the situation. There can be no harmony when there is resistance." So he asks the questions, when you meet resistance, do you fight harder? Do you let the situation change you? Do you become the person you need to become in order to resolve the conflict? And those are great questions, because what we have to realize is that, are we trying to control the situation by doing something that we think is going to make the situation different, instead of choosing to find a way to flow with the harmony of what's going on. In the Gospel of Thomas, the disciples of Jesus said to him, "When will the kingdom come?" And Jesus replied, "The kingdom will not come by watching for it. It will come," he said, what he said is, "it is here now. Look there," rather than the Father's kingdom is spread out upon earth and people don't see it. What we have to realize, it is already here, and we tend to want to look outside to find it, when the harmony, the realization, the truth of who and what we are is right here, right now. And the last quote: "The key to harmony in every situation is already in our hands, but we overlook it. Every answer, no matter what the situation, has already been given to us, and yet we do not see it. All too often because we do not want to accept what is." So what is. It just is. It's the great mantra, to look at whatever is going on, whatever situation, whatever condition, and to be able to look at it and say, it just is. It just is. And recognize that we can choose to take whatever steps we need to from that place. But if we move from that place with resistance, or with anger, or with frustration, or with regret, or with guilt, we create the next moment in that place of regret, or anger, or guilt. But if we move from that situation, if we really recognize it as just is, as we see it as the harmonious expression of life that just is, and we move from there in a place of harmony, in a place of love, what we do is we create the opportunity for a new experience that is filled with love, filled with harmony, and filled with joy. So can we really look at life from that place of saying, it just is. It's the harmony of the universe. And to know that change is inevitable. Healing is coming into harmony with what is, and realizing that we are one with all that is, and that we are always at home in God. We are always at home in God. Meister Eckhart said, it is not God that is not home. It is us who have gone out for a walk. And so I leave you with that idea and with that realization. Healing and harmony. Healing is knowing the truth right now, right here in this moment. The harmony of accepting what is and knowing that there's a greater truth that we can step into from this moment. And so it is.